Hi, I'm Candace. This is Fitness and Harmonies Pilates to engage in real life, in real fitness. So what is the point of doing all of these Pilates or yoga exercises? Is to keep the spine healthy, to keep the spine moving. If you ever had an injury and you wound up holding something really stiff and maybe your patterns change because of it, you know what I'm talking about. Real fitness, real life is being able to move in any direction without pain. That's more than enough. That's real wealth. So let's start here. Take a seat, rock back and forth, let the knees drop down below the knees. See if you can organize your legs, because what we do in our yoga and Pilates is we organize and speak to the details of the parts and the pieces, and then we put those pieces together. Some of those pieces are physiological, like let's swim the shoulders back and back and back, lift and drop, lift and drop. So I said that my shoulder blade was kind of bothering me, that trapezius muscle there, so I'm going to see if I can regain movement there. Maybe the answer is leave it alone for today, but maybe the answer is move it around. So you have that answer within you. Then let the hands release down onto the thighs. Push down to rise up. So use the pressure of pushing the arms and the shoulders down to scoop the belly inward. We're going to get some good stretches today to get that inner deep wisdom so that we can see ourselves for who we really are. We're this magical, wonderful, healing being within a physical body that's failing sometimes, but it's also always healing, or at least it's trying to heal. Let the ear drop to the shoulder. See how that feels. Inhale. Exhale. Lift your head. Let your ear drop to the other shoulder. Inhale. Exhale. Always scooping, always drawing into an inner core of strength. Lift your head up. Pull the shoulders onto the back. So pinch the shoulder blades together. Inhale. Exhale. Now bring your hands to the ribs. So you should be able to feel these lowest ribs, about 4 or 5 of them there. Inhale, expand the ribs. Let's practice breathing. Exhale, draw the ribs in. So even if your hands are pushing a little bit, let that happen. Inhale, make sure that you locate the muscles that expand the ribs out. Exhale, even if you have to push a little bit. So we're learning how to breathe. You know, the principles of yoga and Pilates are quite similar. They're not all the same. But breathing is really one key discipline in both that really are the first step to the self-realization, to look in to not only your patterns of movement of your body, but the patterns of your mind, which hold you back. Do that one more time. I really want you to gain a mastery today. That my breath controls my ribs, my lungs, and then by extension, your heart and your circulation, and then eventually your mind. Good. Let's come off of this block or this seat or this bolster and bring the feet to the floor in front of you. Take the feet and the knees a little bit wide. I'm going to use these hands to prop me up in the back, because I don't ever want to slouch or slump. Now we'll do this on purpose a few times, but for now, push down to rise up. So envision your spine telescoping upward. Just stay here and take a couple of gently guided breaths to release. I want you to release. When you exhale, release out the covering, the cloth, the curtain, whatever it is, whatever thoughts, feelings, or just muscular contractions that you've been holding on to because it's been a difficult time. So push down to telescope the spine up through the back of the neck, not the front of the neck, the back of the neck. Now see if you can push the pelvis forward and back. You may or may not be able to get, if your legs have to get out of the way, let that happen. Because I want you to find what neutral pelvis is. Neutral pelvis is when your spine is hanging. The bucket of the pelvis tipped just a little forward, not all the way forward. Very few of us tip the pelvis all the way forward. That's kind of that lordosis. That's a word for when your spine has that big concave shape in your low back. Most of us don't have that. Now find neutral. So hold. Think about it, the top of your pelvis pointing to the kind of the front, I guess, of your head. So there's a little bit, now squeeze the muscles around the back as if you're putting a belt on backwards and you're clasping it behind you. We're going to let go with these arms. See if you can hold on to that. It's okay if you have to hold on to your legs. If you want, though, we'll bring the hands a little bit together. Reach the arms forward. Now rock forward. Imagine as your hands are pulling your heart forward. There's the image for you. Lift the arms up. So extend the spine a little. See how the upper back just extended back. Squeeze the belly. Now lean back. Rock the pelvis back. The heart just turned to look down. Roll forward. Lift the heart. Remember, like a string pulling your heart up. Lean back. Brace the abs. Rock the pelvis forward, like your heart just turned to look down. So your heart looks forward and down, rolls forward, and then looks up. And then it sort of goes along the ceiling, and then it turns back down. Then the light goes forward, up the wall, up to the ceiling, across the top of the ceiling, turns down, forward. So there's one way to think about what you're doing here. So you're circling your heart on a big string and rocking the heart forward and back. So what we're really doing is gaining the ability to move without compensating. So we all compensate, right? We go out into the world and the world throws obstacles at us and we have to compensate. We have to learn how to move this way or that so that we don't get hurt. 2 more times. So train the abdominals to move the spine in a way so the spine doesn't have to compensate. So let's say you had to do this. Hold this one back. Then what I want you to do is drop one shoulder and back. Drop the other shoulder and back. So left and right. Squeeze through the abdominals. Squeeze through the abdominals. Inhale. Exhale. So the pieces that we're putting together so far is you're breathing and you're learning how to control the rib cage opening and closing. That's one piece. Another piece we're putting together is the mindfulness that I am here and I'm engaged in behaviors and patterns that I want to repeat. So I may be using this twisting pattern later today. Maybe I have to look over my shoulder to make sure there's nothing in my blind spot, both physically and metaphorically, right? 3. Use that breathing pattern because you want to repeat breathing. Come up and then circle the body around and around. Oh, this is a challenge on my glutes and my tailbone. I'm feeling this. Now go the other way. I need maybe a little bit more cushioning. My cushioning moved off to one side, I guess. All right, so come to center. Roll forward. Remember this? Lift the heart. Lean back. Roll forward. So dive, rise, lean back. Dive. Tip forward, rise up, lean back 2 more times. So the head's not doing that. The head is staying almost looking down. Hold here, hold back. Then drop one shoulder, drop the other shoulder. Twisteroo here, right? Learning to guide the mind now. You can do a little bow and arrow arm if that's something that feels right for you. A little dance step. 3, 2, and 1. Come all the way up. Fold one leg in towards the pubic bone there and then stretch the other leg out. Twist towards that long leg and turn the spine. All right, now I want you to close your eyes and figure out, what does my neck need today? What would feel good? Take a breath in. Let that breath slide out. Turn back to the center. Point and flex the foot of that long leg. Inhale the arms up. Forward fold here. So guide the chest forward and down. Flex the foot and hold. Begin to feel your mind entering the space that you're creating here. Our goal today is make the spine elastic so that you don't have to compensate in real world problems. Often we live in a fake world. We allow the stories that we tell ourselves, which are necessary sometimes, but we allow those stories to become real because we tell them so often. Remember, we have a confirmation bias. That means that your brain is programmed to believe what you say. Even if you know it's not true, you still believe it. 3 long breaths. Make the breath go where the breath has not gone before. 2. Delicious. Push down, roll up. Let's stretch the other side. So one leg in, one leg out. Sit up tall on your sit bones. Remember, the pelvis always slightly tipped a little forward. Find that little difference there. It's only 2 millimeters forward or sunken back. A little forward. Turn towards that outstretched leg. Maybe use your hand, but don't push very hard here. If anything, do push down. Once you get there, though, find the position for your head and neck. Usually, it's chin down and towards one shoulder. Take a deep breath in. All you really need is to nourish the conditions to get what you want. To get what we want in this case is a body that's free of those pains and those aches and the compensations, meaning I can't. You always say, I can't do that, Candace. I can't do that exercise. Maybe because you've been compensating by not training those muscles. 3 long breaths here. Exhale. Exhale. And move back and into center. Let's point and flex that foot of the outstretched leg. Waking up the nerves. Nerves are all throughout the body. So I'm going to make sure. Come to center, circle up. Reach the ribs forward and dive forward. Flex this foot back and come down. All we want to do is be free of the lies, the untruths, the misperceptions, those things that you believe about yourself or your environment that aren't true. So nourish the conditions that you need. So if the conditions is I need to step outside, I need to see something from a different perspective, maybe I need to twist a little this way because I've been babying this shoulder blade over there, or maybe that's too much. Maybe I need to twist over this way. Just experiment. 2 slow breaths here. Turn the light on to see what it is you need. What is the condition that you need today? And then push off and roll up. Let's roll down onto the back. Do you have a strap or a band? If you do, grab that strap or band. In this case, it can be a strap, because we're not going to use it to move. We're going to use it at the length about shoulder width, so it's actually pretty narrow. It's actually a pretty narrow grip here. Take a second to swim the shoulders onto the back. So my shoulder blade have edges, and those edges can push into the floor. My goal is to get those edges flat. Take a second. Wiggle, wiggle, swim, swim. Then with the arms out front, kind of call this Frankenstein arms. Squeeze the abdominals down towards the floor, but squeeze the low back up towards the ceiling. Then just take one knee in and down, and then the other knee in and down. All right, try to relax now from the jawline down through the shoulders. Inhale, exhale. Remember I said breathing is one of the prime principles of yoga and Pilates? So do that, breathe. Or organizing pieces and parts. Another thing they share is fluidity of movement so that there is an energy flow, so that there can be a change. So practice mindfulness. What is it I am doing? So I don't know that you would do this in your everyday life, but when you do move your arms and your legs, chances are your spine is not being held by the floor. And chances are you don't do this in your everyday life. If not for this little session, you would have not done this. So memorize what it feels like for the spine to be supported. Remember, all we're doing is nourishing the conditions. Now try both. If you can. Maybe the answer is no, not today. All right. The conditions are, I want to learn how to hold the spine against the waterfall of forces. What forces are happening here? Well, right now I'm trying my hardest to lift these legs up and make it look easy. I may not be doing this move in real life, but in real life I will. Go empty that dishwasher or go empty that washing machine that always has dog hair in it. 3. Squeeze the lower belly as much as the middle belly and then leave the legs down. All we're going to do is twist the arms left and right, so from side to side. All right, so you're making a decision now. It could be the arms moving in the arm socket, or it could be the whole shoulder coming off the floor a little bit, or it could be a little bit of both. Just feeling around. So this is feeling good in my back of my shoulder because I have some tension there from a little bit overdoing it yesterday. All right, memorize this position because remember, I'm going to put pieces and parts together and so I'm going to call back on some of these dance moves again and again. Leave the arms center and then just pull the band towards your body and push it up. Now, if you have a band that stretches, you might want to go ahead and pull the band apart a little bit. Give those triceps a little extra work today. Now, since this is relatively easy to consider, exhale as you empty the belly and make that concave shape at the core. So, exhale. Exhale. Exhale is when you move. Exhale is when you apply force. Exhale is when everything moves. Usually what we're doing, though, in yoga and Pilates is we're moving energy out. We're taking it in and we're learning how to transform it out. Leave the arms up and hold. Lift and levitate the legs and hold, so knees up. Now, arms side to side. Remember I told you this was going to come back. Legs opposite, so legs tip in the opposite direction as the arms. This is going to take a lot of control. We're nourishing the condition that maybe part of you is going in one direction and the other part is going in another direction. Again, this works physically, but also mentally. We can have opposing ideas and we have to somehow negotiate and resolve them into one unified force. So where is that? That's right around the center of the belly. 3. Remember when you exhale. 2. The belly goes down and in. And 1. Let's put the band down. But come into a bridge pose. So walk the heels in. Lift the hips up. Guide the shoulders and the arms kind of under the back. All right, just work on expanding the front body. Doesn't necessarily have to just go up. It could be going out or it could be getting longer. So there's many different directions. It's expanding in simultaneously. Inhale, exhale, and focus on guiding your breath through all of the channels of the body. Imagine that your body's like a road map, and there's some roads you haven't gone down in a long time because they're bumpy. They haven't been well maintained. So inhale, exhale, and kind of Find your way through all the little channels, all the little hills and valleys, the places where the sun has not risen yet. Now from here, lift your heels up and down. Keep the abdominals holding this bridge nice and strong and steady. Three or four more. Lift and drop. Bring the heels down and hold. And what I want you to try to do is circle your hips around. So it's like down, over, up, over, and down. Circle the hips around. By now, you're feeling not only a stretch, but a little bit of fatigue in the big muscles. These are big muscles that move your hips with good reason. Our hips hold like everything. 3 more times in this direction. Breathe in and out. Now go the other way. So uncircle the hips in the other direction. Notice as you're doing that you're trying to keep an even amount of pressure on your feet and your shoulders. So don't let all of the body weight fall into just one part of the body. 3 more times around. Good. And then come all the way down. Draw one knee in and rest. Stretch the other leg out. Close your eyes and breathe. Let's breathe together. Inhale. Exhale everything out. Inhale. Exhale everything out. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Let's just switch to the other leg. I want to give you time to organize this part. So we've been doing exercises, moving from here to there, stretching and controlling, and thinking about how to maintain a fluid spine. So let's take an equal amount of time practicing patience, letting the lesson soak. There's a time to push and there's a time to let go. Follow your breath in. Follow your breath out. Release tension anywhere that you find tension. Take a deep breath in. Let it go. Let it go everywhere. Not just from the lungs, but from the neck and the shoulders. Draw both knees into the chest. Circle the knees around. So use your hands to stir this pot. I had just said before that little break that our hips hold everything. So right now you're probably feeling that. Not just the effects of the exercise, but of everything. How you slept last night, the stories you've been engaged in. Now stir the other way. So picture that all, like your body is a history book. And it holds the stories of every experience you've been in. Some of them it holds really strong. It's kind of like its favorite story it tells over and over again. But then your mind has the ability to tell even more stories, things that don't even exist, right? We can imagine things, and we do. Make your way to your side. Push up off the floor. Come into hands and knees. All right, let's work on this. Splay the fingers out. Move from cat to cow. So cow, we're really hollowing out one part while we're expanding the opposing muscle groups. So we have very unique and different muscles on the back side of the body versus the front side of the body. They're not the same. There's not like one-to-one. You don't look the same, coming and going. But their net effect does what it needs to do. That's the important part. It does what it needs to do. We can't move in an infinite amount of directions. We only have so many muscles and patterns. But they do what they need to do. Of that set of patterns, we only do a few. We only do a few of them. So your goal is to move the back muscles more, and then move the front muscles more. Remember, muscles only pull. They don't push. All they do is pull two bones together. That's all they do. Keep going, cat and cow. With your goal being to create space. So we're elasticizing the ribs and the lungs to flush out. Some of us have some stuff to flush out, right? We've been holding on to some things we need to get rid of. It's time to clear it out. All right, come to a flat spine. Tighten this belt around your waist and then try lifting the knees up 2 inches. Push the hips a little bit back and just hold that. Now spin the head of the arm bones away from the ears so that the space on either side of the neck is nice and open. Try rounding your back like we just did, like a cat pose, dropping the head. And then come all the way down onto the belly. So let's move forward and come down. Take the arms wide, a little bit wider than the mat, and a little bit above the level of the shoulders. Squeeze the leg bones together and lift the legs. Now roll the shoulders down and back and levitate the heart up as you scoop the belly up off the floor using the belly muscles, not the arms. Come down. Lift the legs as you squeeze the heels and zip the legs up. Roll the shoulders back, lift the heart up, squeeze the belly up off the floor and come all the way down. Exhale, squeeze, lift everything up, belly included. Inhale, sniff the floor. Exhale, squeeze everything to the midline and rise up. Inhale, down. Exhale, squeeze, everything travels to the middle and rises. Inhale, down. A few more times without clenching or over clenching the upper back or the shoulders. Squeeze the inner thighs together, squeeze the heels together, really contract the lower belly. Last time. And come down. Let's try that twist, that scorpion tail. Lift one leg with its knee bend and then twist the hip over. We'll just hold that. Just take this stretch here. Three, 2, come back. Try the other side. So bend the leg, lift the leg over, spin the tail over to one side. Reorganize your chest, your shoulders, your neck, your arm. For me, it feels better to have this arm down. I like that stretch. Just hold the stretch. Two more breaths. Lots of opportunity to move the ribs and then come back to the belly. Push back into child's pose. So wiggle your way back. Remember that our goal today was to nourish the conditions to move into the real world, to not compensate. So we're nourishing the conditions to not compensate, so that our bodies and our minds, which will follow your body. If you ever had a bad pain, you know that your mind always follows your body. When your body screams, your mind listens, right? We're making the conditions right. So we're trying to make the spine fluid and organize the parts. So it might be the arm over here, the neck over there, that shoulder. What do we do with that hip? So we're doing a little bit of twisting. Do 3 slow breaths. And then we'll come up. Move into a low lunge. I almost always use my blocks to get into this by stepping 1 foot forward and leaning forward into low lunge. Then once you get there, turn towards the leg. Take the opposite arm around. And so you're really twisting the spine. It's like you're trying to get your thigh up into your belly. Keep pushing forward though. Yeah. This is my favorite good digestion pose. This will get digestion moving. Three, 2, 1. Unwind a bit, but then bend this back knee. Be careful, that back knee may have just said, no, that didn't feel right. Reach back, see if you can find that foot. Some people go this way, some people go the other way. Which way makes sense to you? Maybe neither. Maybe you can't find that foot. Remember, our goal today was to be able to move without compensation. So there might be a reason you need to find your foot. There may be a time when you need to find your foot. You're walking outside and you want to look at the bottom of your shoe. You say, what's on there? And maybe you find another way, but that's called compensating. So moving without compensating. Another way to compensate was to use a strap here. It's not wrong. It's just one way to do it. 2 slow breaths. Exhale, release. Oh, let's switch to the other leg. I see you saying, wow, how'd you do that? Why'd you do that to me? So 1 foot forward. First, lean forward. Come up a bit. Turn towards the knee that's in front. Use your opposite arm. Wrap around like you're trying to hug your leg into your belly. Keep pushing forward though. Still getting that iliopsoas. There's a deep muscle in there. And it's a humongous muscle. So there's a lot more in there than just those organs. There's muscles that kind of cut through us from wall to wall. So go deep. And it's those muscles that aid in digestion. Digestion doesn't just happen. You need to move for it to happen. All right, so coming up from here, a little bit of balance. Bend the back leg. Look around, see if there's a way you can find that foot to catch it. Maybe the answer is no. No. I'm not going to catch that foot. You can still get a really good stretch by really contracting the hamstring. So the opposing muscle group can do a pretty good job of stretching the other muscle. Its opposing muscle. If you think about it. So squeeze that hamstring. Drag the heel in towards the glute, even if you're not holding it. Three. What a good pose this is. You can see your hips just releasing all their old stories. And 1, let go. Let's come back to a seated pose. Oh. Why don't you come to your seat? Let's grab that strap again, that band. Band. This time the band. Take the band behind the body. And we're going to push forward. So I got it scrunched up in my hands. Now when you push forward, round and lean back. So almost, is it opposite of rowing? Yeah, I guess it is. Push forward, round and lean back. Push. So the more you're pushing with your hands, the more you're pulling the abdominal wall backward. Push. Squeeze the abdominal wall. Gather and collect all the abdominal muscles into the center and then thread it, kind of through your navel and into your spine. Exhale. Exhale. Sustain. Sustain the same amount of effort and attention throughout the entire practice. Concentrate more. Concentrate more on the things you're not concentrating on. Like, are you letting your shoulders up? Remember, there's pieces and there's parts, and we're organizing all those parts so that if we were like a multifaceted light, like a disco ball, if you know what that is, we want to give a little bit of attention to each and every face of that ball. The front, the back, the sides, all those other little diagonals. 3 more. Shoulders down, belly in. Exhale like you're trying to get rid of every particle of air. Good. Let's release the strap. Actually, if you want to hold on to it, totally up to you. Come down and kick one leg up. Totally up to you. If you want to thread the strap on that foot, doesn't make it better or worse in this case. Just sort of something. If you're holding onto the strap, anchor your arms and don't make this too tight. If you're not holding onto the strap, don't care. Just take the leg side to side. And figure out, like we did in the beginning, are you moving your hips or are you holding your hips? Imagine you're driving a car. Most people know how to drive a car. When you're steering the wheel, you have to turn at a certain pace, and you have to turn at a certain timing or else you go off the road. Something very bad happens. So whether your hips are turning or you're keeping your hips straight, the only requirement is that you know. So if you mean to hold them straight, hold them straight. If you mean to turn them, then turn them. But don't not know. Make sure that this is something you are choosing consciously. That's the whole point here. Stir those hips, or drive, turn, or not. Especially if they are turning, turn them with the strength of the abs, not by the leg. Don't let the leg be flipping you. Your abs are driving the hips. Either it's holding the steering wheel steady, or it's turning left and right, or maybe it just turns in one direction. But just like when you're steering a car, you need all of those abilities. You need all of the directions to be safe. If you only could turn left, you'd be in trouble, right? You can't compensate. Your car can't compensate, but our bodies do. 3 long breaths. Doing exactly what you intended to do. And then bring the leg to center and then just give it a pull. Let's give it a second to stretch. And then we'll go to the other leg. All right, remember what we're doing here. Band, no band, does not matter. Does not matter. Take the legs side to side. I think it's harder without the band. I think it's harder without the band. The band, you were sort of holding on, and you could have another level of control there. So, try it one way, try it the other way. All right, now guide your attention to your hips, the steering wheel. When you mean to hold steady, hold steady. When you mean to turn, turn. But go inside this little cart we call a body and control how you're guiding it. Where are you going? Who are you? Remember I said your hips, your pelvis holds everything. So engage more and more in the reality of who you are and the reality of not misperceiving, of seeing things clearly. Are your hips turning? They're doing that with the knowledge of the abdominals applying force. They're not doing it because the leg is swinging or falling. Are you going quickly or are you going slowly? You're doing that with the knowledge, the force of the abdominals. 2. And then just stretch. So when you bring the leg back up, if you're holding the band, give it a pull. If you can grab your leg, give it a pull. Good, so then make your way into Shavasana. Shavasana just means body pose. So make your body into a body, a fully supported, relaxed, open body. Close your eyes. I am peaceful. I am open to a guiding presence. There's another story I'm not telling. Take a deep breath. When the time is right, let it go. One more time. Just pause to memorize the sensation of abundance. You have everything you need already within you. Begin to make your way to your side. Open your eyes and then push all the way back up. Good, coming back into center. So gather all of that. Bring it all back to center. Touch the hands together because that feels good to center you at the heart or that presence resides. Inhale, then circle up. Extend back, so open up the chest. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, gather all those pieces and parts. Be open to that possibility. Thank you. Good job today, everyone.